Yo, guys, what's up? Today we're going to be reacting to the January Tico Talk for Throne and Liberty. We're going to go over the updates, what I think about the updates that are happening, and how I, coming from a community perspective, how this video might be um, perceived or presumed from presumed that's not the right word, perceived man, perceived from the community. So let's get into it, and we'll see what Tico has to say for us today.
What's up, gamers? Welcome back to Tico Talk's Throne and Liberty. My name's Tico, and I'm the Globalization Design Manager at Amazon Games for Throne and Liberty. It's been a while since our last chat, and I hope all of you had a chance to get some rest over the holidays and enjoy some Throne and Liberty. I might have played a little too much.
Yo, it's been a while since our last talk. Tico, it's been like 2 months, man. You're leaving us out to dry. We need like every other week talks of what you're trying to do.
But hey, when you get a break from work, it's hard to resist. I want to start by thanking all of you for your patience during that holiday period. I know how eager you are to hear from us about many topics, and today we're going to address some of them. So grab your favorite drink, and let's dive right in. I want to waste no time and start with what's top of mind for many of you, server consolidations. Yes, they are coming, and I want to be completely transparent about what this means for our...
Let's go! We're combining servers, so that's good. Let's see how he's going to do it.
Community. Our goal with server consolidations is twofold. First, it's to ensure we maintain the competitive landscape within servers. And second, we want to widen the pool of people that can play together on each server. The approach to server consolidations will be a multi-step process that includes merging auction houses between early access and launch servers, offering a free server transfer period, which includes removing the restriction of transfers between early access and launch servers, and then finally, the consolidation of existing servers. I want to emphasize here that any servers impacted will be consolidated into new servers, rather than merging one server into another already existing server.
Okay, so we're getting server merges. What he said is we're going to have the lift from the early access servers to normal servers, so we'll be able to like transfer in between if we want to. But they're making new servers to combine two into. Why not just transfer one to another? Like okay. I mean, I guess that's just how they need to do it.
I know you probably have many questions about what happens during consolidation, which servers will be affected, and plenty more. So to address this properly, we'll be releasing a comprehensive article later this week that will outline all the details.
So update this week, guys. That's huge.
And dates, so you'll know exactly what to expect.
Can y'all not hear this? We should be able to hear it.
Now, I've seen a lot of discussion from players wondering what we've been working on over the last couple of months. Well, all of us at AGS and NCSoft have been focused on making fundamental improvements to Throne and Liberty as we get ready for Talandre's launch, our upcoming free expansion.
So, Talandre, I watched this earlier today, by the way, guys. We're reacting to it again. He mentioned the server, this expansion Talandre. Hopefully, like they have like some sort of like, I don't know, like trailer or something for this expansion that we can look up in a minute, because it seemed very intriguing that they just kind of want to combine everything onto this one specific expansion.
And I want to share some of those details now. First, let's talk about combat improvements, which is something I've mentioned before, but can now share more specifics. We're making foundational changes to our combat mechanics with the focus on improving fluidity and intuitive feel. So what does this mean?
If we're making changes to the combat, we need it to be like Black Desert. I 100% need to have like the fluidity of how the combat feels in Black Desert. If we're gonna go that in depth and change things, because I feel like most people are used to how it is now, but if we want to make it better, it needs to be that fluid.
In practice, here are some of our planned changes. Players will now maintain their regular movement speed while attacking. We're eliminating the functionality that forces your character to face your target when attacking, and introducing line of sight requirements to attack players and monsters.
Line of sight requirements. That is huge for PvP. Huge. Literally, just hide around the corner and you won't be able to get hit, or it'll stop the spell from being cast on you. That's going to be massive.
Movement controls will now be consistent both in and out of combat. Did anyone say backpedal? We're increasing base melee attack range and changing from camera-based to character-based relative movement.
Camera-based movement, that's huge too. I think that's how Black Desert does it, and that's why it feels fluid.
Additionally, we're making core changes to our targeting system, so you can expect targeting to feel more natural and intuitive when tab targeting, and more responsive and precise when targeting with mouse clicks. These changes are going through multiple rounds of extensive testing to ensure we deliver the highest quality combat experience we can. We're targeting for all of these combat changes to arrive with Talandre. The next major improvement I want to discuss is open.
So the combat is changing with the expansion. They did say increasing melee range is a priority too. So we'll have to see how much they're increasing it, because if we're gonna be able to get hit by the great swords or the daggers from a distance, that's not good.
Open world PvP. One of Throne and Liberty's core elements is epic scale open world PvP.
Yeah.
While this vision has worked well with our castle sieges, and our PvP community is having a blast there, we've noticed something interesting, and that's the incredibly positive reception to our guild versus guild content.
Hey, guild versus guild. We've been preaching this since day one, guys. The open world content, like the conflict bosses, the nighttime dungeons, things like that, it's cool. But the open world bosses and like riftstones, boonstones, that is where it needs to be guild versus guild. Like, let it be a queued system. Like, queue into another guild that's comparable size and fight for that boss. Fight for the contribution for the boss. Fight for the node. Like, different things like that. Man,
with concerns about how alliances and mega alliances are continuing to impact the overall PvP experience.
What he said right there. If the alliances and the mega alliances just control the server, that right there specifically, I was in FTP early on. We controlled Castleton, and after FTP left, it's been a nightmare fighting in some of these because I haven't been in that huge alliance. So 100% we agree with you, Tico.
So, in an effort to lean into guild versus guild content and make their distribution of rewards more fair, we will be making major changes to how field bosses work.
Sean Combs is a
What is this?
monster.
A freaking ad?
Now because I witnessed everything.
YouTube.
Field bosses will transition from an open...
Yo, go back 10 seconds. What is that, YouTube? Come on.
Major changes to how field bosses work. Field bosses will transition from an open world PvP format to a guild versus guild format, similar to what you may have experienced.
Let's go.
Where two guilds will be matched 1 versus 1 in a boss fight.
It's got to be queued.
To evolve, we want to adapt content to lean into what players are organically enjoying, and I'm personally very excited and optimistic about this new direction. This is a substantial change, and we're still fine-tuning the matchmaking and reward system. So look forward to February when we'll share more detailed information. Now I'd like to talk about a few topics that have seen a lot of...
So he said that he will give more information in February on this. So I'm assuming that most of these are going to be launched with Talandre, which is the next expansion. And if he's saying he's announcing it in February, that means maybe March we get this?
Speculation about in the community and address them directly, starting with Tier 2 gear. Players will be able to begin acquiring Tier 2 gear at the time Talandre is released.
Next expansion.
When Tier 2 gear does arrive, players will be able to upgrade them all the way to plus 12 from the onset. The ability to increase gear to plus 12 will also apply to Tier 1 Arc Boss weapons, and yes, these weapons will also be buffed to match the power of Tier 2 weapons.
Yes! My Tevent 1, baby!
The other speculative topic I want to cover is the new weapon mastery system that many of you have probably heard about from the Korean service. I've seen plenty of guesses for when it will arrive to our service, so I will tell you now that it will also arrive with Talandre.
Okay. So the weapon mastery is coming with the expansion. Guild versus Guild coming with the expansion. Every change seems like it's coming with this expansion so far. Tico, what is this expansion?
All this talk about Talandre, I know you must be wondering, when is Talandre coming? Or maybe even, what is Talandre? Well,
yes.
Make sure to
Yo, Tico. What is Talandre? Come on.
Next episode of Ion Elysium on January 28th for the big reveal.
Okay, so we got another announcement January 28th. We'll have to look at that one too, chat.
I wonder if she's going to drop any other information about upcoming content. Okay, we just covered a lot, but that's not everything we're working on. Let me highlight some other key improvements in development. First, we're implementing changes to reduce situations that can lead to toxicity, especially in co-op dungeons. We're also tackling key quality of life improvements, like streamlining inventory management for both regular items and runes. And along those same lines, we're analyzing the game's materials and working to reduce the current material overload that many of you have experienced. And finally, something I know many of you will appreciate. We're expanding the ways you can approach gear progression.
So first of all, he's reducing the amount of materials is what they're looking for. And like, bro, that's huge. Have you looked at my bank recently? I've spent thousands of solid and hundreds of lucent just to have bag space in this game.
While PvE content is the current primary path for progression, we want to give you more flexibility to progress through the content you enjoy most, whether that's PvE, PvP, or a mix of both. We're still iterating on the finer points.
Please tell me, Tico, you're going to give us PvP gear or give us rewards for like traits or something for doing PvP. Like, please.
Points of all of these efforts and their release timing, but I promise to share more information as we make progress.
Tico, no, don't tell me. No. Tico. Why are you telling me about the information, but not the details of it? You're telling me listen for another date. Come on, you can't tease it like that, man.
Talk about some promises we've made to you in previous discussions. Back in October, I mentioned we were working on new UI elements to show contextual information about guild contributions during conflict mode bosses. That change is arriving in just a few days on January 23rd. For our console players, in November I promised mouse and keyboard support, and we are now targeting to deliver this feature on February 6th.
Yo, that's huge. Console players, big dub. Beginning of February, you'll get mouse and keyboard. I mean, I don't know if you would actually play with mouse and keyboard, but big dubs.
In my recent holiday letter in December, I acknowledged your feedback about daily activities feeling overwhelming. Let me share some initial steps we're taking.
Chat. My TikTok video and my YouTube short that I just made today was on feeling overwhelmed with having to just do the daily stuff and the burnout. Tico, are you like listening into my VODs, man?
To address this. Starting January 23rd, you'll be able to open normal end of dungeon chests even when doing dimensional trials. Then, on February 13th, we're adding the ability to open multiple chests within a single dungeon run. This change will be initially applied to 1-star dungeons.
Bro.
We're still working on improvements.
That is massive. That's massive, Tico. Let's go. Dimensional trials. Having to do dimensional trials, tier 2s, tier 1s, then too many dungeons. If I can open my tier 2 dungeons with the dimensional trials that I have to do, that's going to save me so much time and still at a chance of gear. And then the tier ones that nobody wants to do anymore because we all have that gear, man. We can open multiple. Oh, yes. I'm not going to have to sit here and waste half an hour to an hour doing dungeons every single night when I can spend one day doing my trials and get multiple things knocked out. Bro, massive, massive W for progression. Massive.
For contracts and Abyss Dungeons. For Abyss Dungeons specifically, our focus is less on reducing time spent inside of the dungeons and more on improving the fun factor of the dungeons themselves. On January 23rd, we're adding nighttime chests to Shadowed Crypt for our PvP players to compete over.
No! Yo! We're getting Soradoma Dungeon, Soradoma Island chest in Shadow Crypt, guys. The PvP in Shadow Crypt is not gonna be stuck at the door anymore. Bro, that is gonna make the Shadow Crypt the new place to farm. Bro, Tico, you're killing it, man. You know, I had a lot of people say, like, tell me that this Tico Talk was meh. There wasn't a ton on here. He's basically telling us, hey, next expansion. But they're not pointing out that all of these little things like this are coming out in 2 days.
I'm expecting we'll be able to share more details next month about more of the changes coming to Abyss Dungeons that impact all of our players. Let's jump over to Castle Siege timing. Based on your responses to our recent survey, it's clear that players want sieges to occur later in the day. With our upcoming maintenance this week, a new Castle Siege start time of 8 p.m. will be reflected in the in-game schedule.
Oh, bro! 8 p.m. Tico listened. Bro, these castle sieges are about to be lit. We're not doing them at 5 p.m. on a 4 p.m. on a Sunday anymore, when half the people are either watching football or at work or can't make those early times. Like, these late night gamers are about to come on. Bro, they're gonna get unlocked. These castle sieges are gonna flip the script, man. Like, some of these servers, especially like the server I'm on, some of these big names like Simplify and Can't Press Q on our server, I don't know, man. They might have something, a rude awakening with all these small guilds actually having people on to compete.
Change will impact the Castle Siege on January 26th and all subsequent sieges. And speaking of surveys,
Big W.
how seriously we take your survey feedback. As you can probably tell from today's topics, many of these changes came directly from your feedback in our survey. So please keep giving us that feedback. And thank you all again for your continued feedback across all of our platforms. If you haven't already, please help us out by leaving a review on your game's platform. We're going to continue to do our best to listen to your feedback, action that feedback, and communicate with you openly and honestly. All right, and now that brings us to our community question. Throne and Liberty currently has cooking and fishing, but if you could add any other form of lifestyle content to Throne and Liberty, what would it be? I'm really
Tico, if you're watching this video, you're listening, can we add alchemy? Let us be able, instead of cooking the potion, let us be able to make potions. Like, you have your defense remedy, you have your attack remedy, but let's give it where we have potions that increase skill damage boost, or potions that increase hit chance for 10-second windows, 15-second windows. Alchemy is what we need for sure. Like, the alchemy 100%.
curious to hear your thoughts on this one. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more of these videos. I read each and every comment, so please let us know what you think down below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in Silesium.
Tico. Yo. Tico. Man. That, first of all, everybody's going to talk about, oh, half the information, next expansion, we don't know anything about it. Guys, we're getting 8 PM Siege. We've been begging for it since day one. We're getting an easier way to grind dungeons. We're getting nighttime PvP chest in Shadowed Crypt. There's giving us more PvP options to grind for these chests. They're making weapon mastery changes and things like that all in the next expansion, but who knows, that could still be early March, late February. They're adding all these other things like in 2 days. That was a big W, man. I actually really like that Tico Talk. Like, anybody that was hating on it, no, it was pretty good. All right, guys, thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you think about that Tico Talk as well. Peace.